Hey, 3D modeling class, it's week 10. Double digits. Today, we are talking about designing things for games and with the lens of low poly efficiency. Now, the caveat to this is that, computers and game consoles and phones have lots of computing power now these days and can handle more detailed graphics and things like that. This is like less of a consideration, I suppose. But I do think that like if you're making something for games, efficiency is always, something you should be thinking about. So we're going to look at like modeling with low poly, and then we're also going to look at using image textures with the purpose of being efficient, using them efficiently. All right, so we'll begin this week's lecture with a brief history of game design from, your favorite Wikipedia historian, Nolan. When games first became a thing that you played at home, it dates back to like the Atari in the 70s, I believe. The things were kind of self-contained on, little like memory chips. Eventually you would have like cartridges, like the old Nintendos would have like a big cartridge, so you could plug in the cartridge, and like one cartridge only had a certain amount of storage on it. The one that I started on was, one of my first gaming experiences was on the Game Boy. And I was trying to look up the technical specs of the first Game Boy. It came out in the United States. What does it say here? In July 1989. And it had 8 kilobytes of RAM, on the computer, on the chip. But then each cartridge, I believe, had 32 kilobytes, 32K. And one of the games, these things. Here we go. CPU can only access 32 kilobytes at a time, but the main NBC can switch between several banks. Okay. So using this technology, Nintendo created Game Boys that used up to 1 megabyte of ROM. Okay. That answers the question. So 1 megabyte. So if you know anything about file sizes, these days, 1 megabyte is like nothing. It's, like a Word document, has more than 1 megabyte. But these game designers were creating entire games with just 1 megabyte. So like it was really trying to min-max what can we squeeze in there. Like we need to get the coding for the game in, but then like what else do we have available for graphics? And so like every sprite had to be accounted for. So why don't I think I'm do an internet search. Pokemon Red sprites. Let's see if I can find an image of this. So yeah, they had to map out like all the different things that would be in the game, and they'd make it. They call it a sprite sheet. So like every animation, had freeze frames. Every Pokemon had one thing, and they would be on a big sheet like this, oftentimes. And this is true today. I'm trying to find like a better. I'll do like Pokemon Red terrain. It's showing me like the newer ones, but this is actually a decent example here. Let's zoom in on this one. So like if you look at this, these are different buildings. I think this is Pokemon Emerald or something like that. But that each one of these little blocks, was like an image. And so in order to like be efficient, rather than like saving an entire building as one image, they would save it as little chunks and then reuse the little chunks. So you only need to like store it once. So for example, like you can see there's this gray building right here. And like, most of all of these little squares in here are the same image. So rather than like having one larger image, they say like, okay, here's like roof tile, and they'd say, okay, roof tile, roof tile, roof tile, and so that it would be like calling the same image over and over. And so you'd see that a lot in old games, that like, this is what one piece of wall looks like, and then it'd be like wall, 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 and each little piece would look identical. That's because they were using one shared image to represent like an entire wall. And so, looking at these, so they'd also have a piece for the edge, and they'd also have a piece for the roof and a piece for the door. But then like anywhere they could, they would repeat the same little thing. Yeah, so like this is from, I believe this is from like the gold and silver series, but like, so they'd have one little tree, and it would be like, that is the image of tree. And then they go tree, 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 and like this is image of grass, and then it'd be like grass, 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 grass. So like really, if you count all the different images in here, there's maybe like 10 or 12. It's like pink flower, and cliff, and sign, and that. But then you can stitch together and reuse all of these little bits over and over and over. So you only need to store in your memory 10 little pieces, and then you just program like ones and zeros to say like, okay, this reuse all these. Does this make sense? Maybe not. Okay, so now fast forward like the years go on, the consoles get a little bit more advanced, they have a little bit more storage, like people are, the scientists and the engineers are making smaller and smaller storage. Then we get to the like sort of modern console era when Xbox and things like that start coming out, and they say, oh, well, we'll just put like big hard drives, and we'll even do expandable hard drives. And so now game designers were like, well, now it's like an arms race. How crazy can we make our graphics and kind of hit the peak of computing power? And it's like, well, now let's do more computing power. Now let's have crazier graphics and more computing power and crazier graphics. And the storage of things like ballooned quite a bit. I mean, it is pretty wild. I actually just, I thought I had it sitting here somewhere. Oh yeah, here. I'm putting together it's on the floor behind me. There's like a bunch of computer parts on the floor there. I'm putting together a computer of used parts, but I had to get a new hard drive. And I got this little thing. So this is turning into like an unboxing YouTube channel. Open this. But this is a M.2 piece of storage. So this is computer storage. It's the size of a stick of gum. But this is 1 terabyte, and you can buy these in like 8 terabytes, and it's the same size, which is wild. So it's like literally like what's a kilobyte. It's probably like 1,000,000 times more storage than that Game Boy cartridge that I had in my lifetime. The other wild thing is that like the stat I heard was that your phone has more computing power than like all of the NASA computers that sent people to the moon, like times 10. Anyway, okay, I'm getting off topic. So now we are getting into the like people are playing games on their computers era, and people like Steam is a thing, and just downloading games is a thing. We're not like we've evolved past the CDs. Like maybe some of you have. Man, I am kind of old. I used to play games on discs, so like the disc tray would open, you put the disc in. So, but that was a storage limitation too. But now that everybody's on the internet, everyone has fast internet, you can just download games. The sky's the limit for file size, game size. We still run into the like efficiency and optimization. I think optimization is the better word. Poor optimization in games. And huge downloads. So I think it was maybe within the last couple of years. I don't know if any of you are Call of Duty players, but I think one of the newer Call of Duties is like hundreds of gigabytes. So if this thing is 1 terabyte, it would still be like fill up almost a quarter of this, which is a lot. And people are still complaining. The other thing with optimization, though, is that like the storage is one thing, but then there's like the processing power. So one of my all-time favorite games is called Cities Skylines, and it's a city builder. And last fall, almost a year or about a year ago, they had came out with a new. It was City Skylines 2, and it was like so poorly optimized that it was like, oh, like what are we doing here? Like the game runs so slow, and it was because they had all of the meshes, the models, the things in their games. It was too much detail. Part of I think there was a lot of speculation, but part of it was, and so it's like a city. And well, now I need to find a picture of it. Okay, I think you'll get a kick out of this. So somebody, people were doing digging, and so it's a city builder. So you're like building roads and zoning for buildings and stuff like that, and building highways and city services and things like that. And so it's like a very high level, like top down thing like this. So this is, you're kind of like looking down at the city. And what somebody had found is that like the meshes for each individual like person in your city, and like your city could have hundreds of thousands of people. And my face is in the way. But like this was the level of detail on each person in the game. They had like individually modeled all of their teeth. And so like imagine like each character having hundreds of thousands of polygons and then having hundreds of thousands of like people living in your city. No wonder that it like crashed. There was a lot of speculation that it's because they were going to at the time, the company that was making this game was also making sort of like a competitor for The Sims. I'm familiar with that game series, but it's, it's just like you simulate a person and their life and their family and their house and stuff like that. And that you were going to be able to kind of have some interplay between the people living in your city and this like Sims type game that they were doing. But anyway, ridiculous. Poorly optimized. And so herein lies the challenge for this week. So you have an assignment, and it's going to be to model something low poly. I'm going to give you hopefully I decide on a number by the time I finish this lecture. And you're going to do that. But then you're also going to do a material using an image texture, and I'll kind of show you some tips with that coming up. So the moral of the story is, you can, if you're designing something for a game, you can always do it in an optimized way and efficiently. Yes, computers are fancier and can handle the really high def graphics, but it always depends on A, your style, and B, kind of what your end goal is. So let's move on. Okay, so the first sort of exercise we're going to do with modeling is going to be about like creating something modular that can be, reused. So think back to that Pokemon example where it's like, okay, this is, building corner, this is building wall, this is building roof, and they can just call that a bunch of times. So, and that was a 2D example. The same idea applies in 3D as well. So this isn't necessarily what I was thinking for your assignment yet, but it's just kind of, I know that there are people that are interested in game design and stuff like that, so this can be useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create maybe like 5 or 6 different pieces for a building that you can kind of then duplicate a bunch of times to make a larger building. So step 1. So things that are important when you're doing this would be understanding the scale and the size of things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, just because I am a North American, and I'm going to go to my scene settings, and I'm going to change my units to be imperial because it just makes a little bit more sense to me. And this is going to be feet. The length is in feet here, like this. And I'm going to turn on snapping to, increments like this. So my increment is feet. So each gray box is 1 foot. And I'll use that and so and because I also have snapping on in increments, when I G, it's gonna ding 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 move in 1 foot increments like this. So I do want this to be, let's see. So because I want this to be exactly on the bottom, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little shenanigans with the 3D cursor and my origin point and stuff like that. So I'm going to go into edit mode, 3-4 face select. I'm going to go Shift S. I always get those two mixed up. Shift S, and I'm going to move cursor to selected, so it'll put it in the middle of that. And then on here, I'm going to go tab back into object mode, and I'll go object, set origin to 3D cursor like this. So my 3D cursor, so my origin point is sitting on the bottom, on the very bottom of the wall there. And I'm going to do Shift C to reset the 3D cursor. And then I'm going to go object, transform. Let's see, can we set, I think now I can just go 0, 0, 0 like this, like that. Okay. So now it is exactly at the origin there. Nice. And I'm realizing I maybe shouldn't have used that default cube because it was set to metric. So I'm just going to go Shift A. I'm add a cube like this, and in my add cube menu, which is here, I'm going to make this 8 feet. We'll do 9 feet because I know a standard ceiling is like 8 feet tall, but we'll just make it 9 for funsies. And then I'll just do this again real quick. So I'll go. Shift S, cursor to selected, and then object, set origin to 3D cursor, and then set this back to 0 like this. Okay. So now we've got snapping on. Let's just SY please. To make it 0.1. And I suppose I could have done this before. But you know how it goes. The other thing that I might do actually is I might put the origin point once I kind of get this locked in. So this is going to be my like wall chunk, we'll say. I'll make it a little bit skinnier actually, just like this. I'm going to go Shift A, apply the Control A to apply the scale like this. And I actually am going to put the my origin point on this corner right here. And I'll show you why in a second. So I'm going to go Shift S, cursor to selected, and then I'm going to go tab, object, set origin to 3D cursor like this. And then I can set it here like this. So that I know this is exactly 9 feet long and 9 feet tall, and it is starting at exactly 0 there like that. So if I were, actually going to be making something a little bit nicer, I might add a little bit more detail, like a little baseboard or something like that. But I'm just going to call this just like regular wall like this. Not wall. Now, if you were to be setting this to a game engine, for example, you'd export it from here. But the other thing that's cool about Blender is using the asset browser. So why don't let's see. I'm gonna bring in a new window over here, and we'll make this the asset browser. If I can figure out how to move my mouse, asset browser, here we go. So you maybe remember this from doing hair, or if you're in the animation class, you did poses and things like that. But what you can do is, in our scene collection here, we can right click and say mark as asset. It says enable easier reuse of selected data blocks through the asset browser with the help of customizable metadata. Okay. So you can see that our wall now has the little book, like books leaning next to each other icon on it, which means it's in our asset library. So let's see, where does that end up? Here we go. It's down here at wall. So I think if we go to unassigned like this, you can categorize these. So we can do, let's see, catalog, how can I make a new, I thought I could just do plus like this. I'll show you in a second. So the cool thing about this now is that we have wall, and I can just put wall in here like this. And it should hopefully snap to... Why didn't it snap to the thing? This would be -9 and 0. But yeah, you can drag these in. It's probably easier to go like Shift D, and that'll also like maintain the snapping and things like that. So you can have nice little wall sections like this that are easily repeatable. Now you would probably then do other things, and so you've got all your different wall sections in here. If we're to make another one, what I'd probably do is I'd do like a little loop cut like this, and just put it on the end here. And I could extrude this one out. And I'd maybe be a little more careful with the sizing of things. No, that was good, 9 by 9. And then I could I could rename this one, and I could make this one like corner. Let's mark this one as an asset. Mark as asset. So there's corner, and you can see the little preview of it up there. Maybe I'd take this one. This is wall 0, 0, 1, and maybe I'd take both of the sides like this, 3 and 3, and then I'd go I insert faces like this, and GZ move them up, and then I'd delete those faces, and then I'd alt click these loops. No, 2 for edge select, and I'd alt click this and this. I shift alt click, and not B, F to fill. No, how do I do that? Bridge edge loops. There's no keyboard shortcut for it. Bridge edge loops. There we go. And I could name this one like window. And put this in my asset browser. And let's do one more. Let me bring another wall in here like this. And let's kind of try to get this lined up. This would be 9, 0, 0 like that. We'll make this one door. So let's do loop cut like this. Control R here like this. Loop cut. And Control R, loop cut here like this. And then SZ to scale these apart. But actually I do want to bring this one down. Alt click that loop cut GZ. Sure. And then this will be our door. I'm like doing this, so basic. It looks like I'm having some clipping here, so I maybe accidentally did 2 of these. Let's see, delete faces. Yes, what is going on here? Go ahead and delete this one. Let's Shift D. Duplicate this. There. Okay. And tab. Control R. SZ. GZ. There we go. Control R. SX. Okay. 3. Oh, but see, this is... Why did it do this again? My asset is being funny. Okay, everything's working so far now. Control R, loop cut here. Delete faces. I don't know why it was being so weird before. Okay, and then let's just select these 2 edges and go GZ like this. Yeah, whatever. I could turn snapping off if I wanted to, but I'm being lazy. Okay, and there's our doorway. No, wait, I need to fill these. Okay, so alt click there, shift alt click here, and then right click bridge edge loops. There we go. And this is going to be door. DOOR. Okay, and then here is mark as asset. And so now it's like you could make as big of a building as you wanted. So we could, Shift D, move this one over here. Try to get it close. Okay, hold on. If you wanted to do it right, you should try to use the snapping and stuff. And then maybe there's another window next to it over here. Shift D. And then get your top-down view. G, D. Or, you could drag it in from here, and now we've got another corner like this. So we can RZ90 like that. Snap that into place. But, just have it beat around numbers here. I don't know. So that is annoying how the snapping isn't quite, so that would be 35, I suppose. No. 36. And the y would be 8. 8.5? Oh, interesting. Oh, it's because I didn't put this... Ah, yes. For some reason, my corner isn't quite long enough, or it's longer on one side than the other. But, you know, those are the lessons you learn. Those are the things you find out along the way. And so you could build, like, other pieces like roofs and stairs and things like that. So, you know, if you're building a game, you know, you'd have more than, 4 pieces. And you might have, you might use the same, like, structure of the building, but maybe you use different image textures. Okay, so now let's talk about image textures. So I'm going to save this right now. Save. This is file 24. This is modeling. This is going to be game stuff. Save that. And then I actually want to look at one of my favorite models, which is that ship from Polyhaven. So we go to Polyhaven. Oh, the Mandalorian. Cool. Let's go to models. How many of you just downloaded the baseball from Polyhaven? Just kidding. And let's look at... Ooh, that might be a good one. But I think the ship is the best example. So let me download this one. I'm download the Blender file for, 2K, sure. And what's really cool about this is how they do the image textures. So actually, and you can kind of see it here, but like this is what the image textures look like on here. It's everything laid out onto one chunk. So we'll kind of try to do a simplified version of this in Blender. So let me go to my downloads once it's done. And I realized I already downloaded this, so I didn't need to do it again. But let's move these into Fall 20. Oh, shoot. It worked anyway. Okay. Maybe that was the one I did before. Oh, yeah. This is the one from last week. Okay, but we can still look at it. So go to Material Preview like this. It's going to hopefully load everything in. There it comes. And let's look at the UV editing on this. Whoa, check out that camera. You gotta find it. Why? What is happening? Pause. Okay, well, I am not gonna bother with this because I don't know what is happening with this Blender file and why everything is crooked. So we'll just look at this here. So each piece, so you can see there's a handful, and I believe there's actually 4 that they kind of stitch end on end, but that every part of the mesh is unwrapped and then laid out onto like a specific part of this image texture. So you can see like there's the back of the ship, and there's the little design, and this is what the railings look like, and on here this is what the sails look like, and this is what the lifeboats look like, and then they have corresponding depth maps and bump maps and normal maps and things like that. But this is how they did it, and still to some extent continue to do it in modern games, that they'll lay out all the different visual assets they need onto one image, and then only one image needs to be loaded, and then we can, it can be, you're loading less images, therefore making the game run faster. So I'm very quickly just going to open up Microsoft Paint, and we're just going to like make our own little sweet image texture here. So it's usually a good idea to start with a square. Squares tend to work a little bit better. But what I'm going to do is you can come up with a color palette if you really wanted, but I'm just going to make a few different rectangles. I suppose I need to actually hold on. How do I want that to be filled. Let's see, no outline, and I want solid fill. Here we go. So we want the one to be solid fill. There we go. Sure. We'll do like a red one. Okay, here we go. Now I can change the colors. Let's do like a green one. And let's do... Make another one, then change the color. Make another one, then change the color. I believe there's a way to do like a gradient or something like this. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'm gonna hack it a little bit. I'm gonna do... Just go here like this. Actually, go up here like this, and I'm gonna do like a screenshot of this. There you go. And then close that and then paste it into here. So you can have some fun colors like this. So imagine, this was like very delicately, curated art that was being made here. No, I don't have my box tool. Here we go. And, make a... Oh, yeah. Okay, make another one and then make it black like this. So this is a great way to like put labels on things and stuff like that. And actually, I'll show you that in a second. So let me save this. Let's put this in my Fall 24, my modeling class. This is going to be my like game IMGTXTURE. That wasn't funny. I just chuckled. Nervous laughter. Okay. Now, let's load this in here. So let's go material preview real quick. Doesn't really matter if we have a line. Okay, and let's bring in some... Let's create a thing. So, new material. New thing here. This is gonna be like my game texture. Okay? Rather than base color, it is a image texture, which is this one here. Let's open my game image texture. There it is. 133 kilobytes. Okay, so here's the deal. So you can see that it's just like put it wherever. But this is how you can get clever with your game design. So let's go to UV editing, and let's do A to select all. And cubes by default are UV unwrapped, and that's fine. Don't forget you can do like U and unwrap and kind of do the whole thing. But one thing that kind of people don't realize you can do is like you can really go crazy with the scaling over here on the left. So if I go L to select this, and let's actually make sure that we're in material preview over here so you can see it. So you can G over here to kind of move this around on the image texture. I more than halfway through, and I didn't turn on my keystroke thing. You can L to select the whole island, and G to move it around. But why don't you just like go ahead and S to scale this way down, and then just place it on whichever color you want it to be. So that's a green wall, and you can through game design and stuff like that, you can kind of program these things a little bit better. You can have like a coordinate system where it's like, okay, if the building is this, then it is texture 0, 1 on the image texture, stuff like that. So we can do the same thing over here. Let's just add the game texture on here, and then give it a color here, so we can scale it down. Move it here like this. But it didn't move, so I wonder if I actually need to... Oh, that was maybe the other one. So let's go L, S to scale it down. Oh, that was probably the inside of the window like this. There you go. Cool, and it's the same color. This corner, let's do it. Let's put the game texture on here. And this one is actually going to be, a little bit of like, kind of like a pinky rainbow one here like this. I don't know. Kind of cool. And so you can have all of these things stacked up within the same image texture. So let's tab to edit like this, A to select all, L to select the whole island, S to scale it down. You can rotate it like this if you really wanted to. Yeah, cool. Okay, so let's take this example to like the next level a little bit. So let me go back to layout here. I want to make like a lots of fantasy and adventure games have potions. Let's make a potion that we can drink real quick. So the first step to model it. Again, so part of your goal in this assignment, your game asset assignment, is to model with like an extremely low number of polygons. So I'm going to use the cube like this, and I'm going to do a subdivision surface modifier, but I'm going to like actually purposefully keep it low. So I'm going to do Control 1 like this, and make sure that my render only has one iteration of rounding. So, I'm going to, think about your kind of stereotypical kind of potion bottle, like it's kind of round and then it comes up at the top like this. So I'm going to like add just a couple of like cuts. I want it to be like a little bit more kind of round at the bottom there, and, a little bit kind of skinnier at the top here. So I'm actually going to do 3 for face select and get all these. Let's see. Let's scale it down like this. And then maybe one more loop cut here to kind of scale it down like this. It's going to be my potion bottle. And you know what? One more here to kind of scale out actually like this. And I still have snapping on, but that's fine. Shade smooth, sure. So what's my poly count on this real quick? Turn on my... if you want to keep an eye on your polygon count, you have to go to this one here, overlays, and it is in statistics. So this has, we're going to go with face count. Face count is going to be how we measure this. This is 22 right now. Now, okay. Next thing, I suppose I also want to have like a cork in the top, so I insert faces like this, and extrude one more time like this, and I need to R loop cut here, and R loop cut, Control R loop cut. Gotta turn snapping off. I'm done with you snapping. Control R loop cut down here like this. Control R loop cut here. There we go. Okay. So what am I at? Let's see. Tab to edit, A for all. I'm at 42 faces. 42. I think it's pretty good. Okay, so we're gonna have like a couple different materials on this, maybe. But so first thing. Let's do this. Let's make our image texture. So let's do a new one real quick. New, and I did kind of like having that sort of rainbow thing. But so like, okay, let's imagine a glass bottle, and so it kind of needs to be this like a bluish color. I don't think there's a way to actually make a gradient in here, but that's fine. Let's just do like that. Okay. And so this is going to be kind of our glass color. And then we also need to make, just sort of like a brownish color for the cork. And, maybe you want to do, like go into Photoshop or go into like After Effects or go into another program that you might know and like add some little bumpy bits. You could also do this within Blender is another option too. You can do some like creative things like that. But I kind of want you to try to get the material for your game asset to be on one image. Okay, so I got this one here. And we also need sort of like the contents of it. Maybe it's going to be blue, or no, we need like a red potion. Health potions are usually red. So let me just make a new one here like this, and we'll just say like red. And then we also need a label on it. So let's do, let's see. How do I want to do this? Let's just do another one that has no fill like this, but it has a black outline like this. Solid outline, marker outline, natural pencil. Wow. This is fancy. And it's going to be like, we can have this say, drink me. Oh, that's too skinny. How do I make a fatter brush? Does that make it fatter? Okay, yeah, here we go. That's too fat. DRINKME. There we go. Okay. okay. We'll call this good for now. Okay. Let's save this. This is going to be our potion texture. Great. Okay. Now let's go over to here. So how I'm going to attempt to do this is I'm going to make, we're going to have need to have a few different material slots. So step one, I'd say new one here. This is going to be, we'll call this game. We'll call this like glass. And we'll load an image texture and we'll open our potion texture. Okay. We need to UV edit this. We need to select A for all and S to scale it down and put it here like this. Okay. The other thing I want to try to do, let's see if this works. I think this depends on your render engine and also on your game engine. Let's just do it. I'm going to switch over to cycles. We can change the alpha, right? To make it like sort of see-through like this. Okay. Now, let's do a new material texture, but it's just, actually we could even like, no, it does have to be a new one, but let's load, the same image texture. Image texture. And actually, so because you don't have to open it this way because it's already loaded into Blender, you can just do drop down and do, well, now my face is in the way. You can say potion texture like that. And we just want to do the brown bits. So I'm going to tab to edit and we just want the top like this. Let's do X-ray select, which is this one, and select all these faces here and these ones. Sorry, oh no, yeah, I'm not doing face select. There we go, face select. Let's assign material to, this is gonna be like cork, C-O-R-K. And now, bring these G over to the brown. There we go, there's our brown bit. Yeah, you can see how it's like, okay, what about this one? It would be nice or it would be cool if we could have like a little gold bit on there. Does that change that? Oh, okay, let's do it. So real quick, I'm gonna go back to my image editor. Let's just add, like a bright gold color like this, and fill like this. Just like give me a little bit of gold and make it gold, and no outline and gold. Okay, save it. And now I believe it. If I just save it like this, it should update. Hopefully. What did I press? Create an image? No, cancel. Open. Let's try it again. Where is it? Potion texture. Open. There it is. Okay. Just took a second to show up. Okay. Now, let me also just grab these other little ones right here. If I alt click, will it select? Nope. I clicked the wrong one. Let's turn off X-ray select. Okay. I want this. No. How do I get just that one? Okay. And just this one. And just this one. Nope. Just this one. Carefully clicking on things is one of my least favorite things to do in Blender. Okay. Now let's just. Did that? Yeah, that didn't quite work, did it? Do I need to also get... Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. Undo, undo, undo. It's just going to be glass, just going to be cork. There we go. Okay. Next. Okay, so that's cork. Let's do another one. This one's going to be label. Label. Base color, image texture. So we're just loading the same one we had. It's potion texture like this. But now here's maybe a cool thing that we can do. Let's see if I can figure this out. It might be easier just to like put it on there. I was thinking. Now I'm actually thinking this might not work. If we go tab and just like select these two on the front here, let's assign like this, and let's do let's unwrap this in a different way. Let's do Smart UV project. Whoops, Smart UV. Projects and unwraps. Oh, project from view. I think we can just do it like this. So let me do. I gotta hide all this other stuff. Hide. Okay. Let's just project from view like this. You project from view. So how I'm looking at it right now is how it's going to project onto it. So let's just move this down. Whoops. L and G. Yeah. You know, it kind of works. You could also do, if you had the ability to make like a transparent thing. Oh, see, like I kind of want this to be smaller. Anyway, and it is like see-through. Okay, so like you could try to what am I trying to say? You could have an image that has transparency. So like you maybe like have a bit of this where like the background is clear, so that if you did the Smart UV project, you wouldn't also be projecting all the things around it. That's another thing you could try to do. Okay, last step was going to be to make the like inside potion of this. So why don't I'm just going to let's see, what's the best way to do this? I'm going to take all of these bits here on the outside and the bottom, and I'm going to Shift D duplicate. No, sorry, hold on. Shift D duplicate and S scale it down like this so it's on the inside, and then maybe also just like fill this in. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to do but now I don't have it selected. How do I get in there and select it? I might just have to go inside like this. Hold on. Undo. Okay. I'm going to do a new. This is going to be like potion. New. This is going to be the like actual potion color. And let's just assign this to it right now. And do base color like this, and image texture, load this, potion texture, and like, but did I not do it? Maybe my Shift D didn't work. Shift D, S. Now let's assign this. There we go. And let's G move all, select all these, G, move it here like this. Okay, now if we select that, if we select this, scale it up. Just gotta get in here and close this up. Select these guys. Sorry, 2 for edge select. Bing bong, F to fill it in. There we go. There's our potion. So you know it's not perfect, but let's do tab and A for all, and let's get my statistics out of here. Let's go back to layout like this. 224 faces. So you know, I don't know. It's aight. Feels like more than it should be, you know. Oh, it's because that drink me is still on there on that side. How do I, let's see, label, cork, let's see. Label, select. Oh, see, that was on both of them. So now if I go inside here and do L, L. Let's UV edit this. UV edit this. Oh yeah, so this bit is still on the drink me here, so we just have to go like that. Put that on the red too. There we go. Now that's gone, because you can see here that it was still connected to that. Okay, drink me. Teehee. Oh, my 250 was with the whole scene. That included all the walls. So this just, unless, let's see, let me delete all these things. Let me delete all my walls and stuff. Okay. Oh yeah, so that is 224 with the subdivision surface. So like all together, whoops, tab. It had 56 faces with all of my extruding and stuff. But then with the subdivision surface, it is 224. Okay. All right, so let's talk about what I want you to do for your assignment. All right, so this one has a little bit of a lower point value. This one's worth 12 points, because I think we also have less time to work on it. Right, it's due 11/11, which is just 2 weeks. Assignment 3, game asset. Create one or more game assets that could be in a game you might play. You could create one object like a vehicle, or several objects, maybe a set of modular things like parts of a building or greenery. Although, I'll show you one more thing after we talk about this. This one's pretty open-ended. The most important thing, however, is to model efficiency. Keep your poly count for each object below 250 and use fewer and smaller image textures. No render necessary, but please include any image textures or other files I need to preview. And to do that, you go to the File menu, External Data, and Pack Resources when you're submitting your Blender file. 12 points. 5 points for model assets with a goal of a low polygon count. 4 points, Mesh unwrapped and given an image texture. So this is a little bit, this is another exercise in UV unwrapping. And then 3 points for an on-time submission of all assets. Okay, so real quick, let's, I just want to show you a couple other things. Oops, where's Blender? The other kind of fun exercise that people have is creating like trees and things like that with low poly. So real quick, because you're going to be using image textures, but like, isn't that so satisfying that each, like, they all use the same image texture? I don't know. To me, that's sort of like oddly satisfying. Okay, but when you're ready to submit your assignment, you can go File. It's here, External Data, and then Pack Resources. And what this will do is it will automatically include any image textures or whatever else into your Blender file. It may take a moment, but for me it just says Pack 2 files because I had the 2 image textures that I loaded. And that way, when I see it, it's not going to be pink. Like it's going to save those in the Blender file so that you don't need to like also include them or zip them up. So again, File, External Data, Pack Resources. This one says no new files have been packed. Okay, the other fun thing I'll just show you. Fun, people like to create, have interesting ways to create. Actually, I shouldn't do that. Trees and bushes and things like that. So start with a cube maybe, and, S shift Z like this, and GZ, or SZ, oh shoot, SZ like this. Oh, I changed the render, but now I just got to put a light in here. When do a control 2, or control 1, and ding, ding, put those down, and tab to edit R, do a loop cut like this, or just use a cylinder, I suppose. That's fine too. And then just like do a icosphere like this, and then do like SZ like this, and you can do like cool Dr. Seuss trees like this, and shade smooth, and then all you need to do is put your game texture on here and say image texture. Open the game texture like this, but then UV unwrap it. Whoops. Let's see. No, this is not the one I want. Let's A and then U to unwrap, And then A, and then why am I looking at the wrong one? So let's look at the game image texture like this. So yeah, you could do some fun things like this. And then put this. I don't know. So like, you can do fun things with like bushes and trees and things like that. I don't know. That was just another example. Or maybe it's a spaceship and you're like, how do I want to get the right kind of metalness stuff on the wings of my spaceship or motorcycle or whatever. So, the 250 polygon thing is more of like a challenge to you. Like if you have 500, I'm not going to be like fail, but just try to keep it in mind. See if you can do it. It's a challenge to yourself. And then the image texture is kind of an exercise in creating your own custom ones if you wish. I believe everybody has like the equivalent of Microsoft Paint where you can just put colors on there if you really want to, or you just like take screenshots of things and paste them into Paint. This really doesn't have to be that crazy. And honestly, like I'm pretty pleased with how my Drink Me potion turned out, and that's just with Microsoft Paint. So I don't know. I think you can definitely do better than that. And then, if you wanted to do it, you could get into the shading workspace and you could try to add. Okay, let's just do this real quick. Let's just do this because I'm only at 56 minutes. Let's see if I can figure this out in 4 minutes. What I wanted to add is like a little bit of bumpiness to this. So I'm gonna slot 3. This is gonna be the cork. So let's add a noise in here. Noise texture. Here we go. Boom, like this. And we're gonna like mix these together. So first, I just want to see what the noise looks like that. And we want, sure, 3D and scale. We want the scale to be like small, like this. And like, what if we just put that into the displacement? Is that actually going to do anything? Yeah, there it goes. So, okay, scale down or scale up. Detail less, more. I don't know, but see, yeah, you can get into it if you really wanted to. So yeah, it's not that tricky then to add like more details and stuff like that. Because the other thing, and now my render is slowing down all of a sudden. There we go, GPU. So like some of these like additional detail things that can happen on a material are like procedural. So like it can be done on the fly. So yes, it does impact your performance. See my recording slowing down, but it's one of those things where it's like it only has to do it once to load it and things like that. Anyway, was this interesting? I don't know. It's people are interested in game design stuff for sure. And the optimization is kind of the main like as a 3D modeler, the optimization and the efficiency of your modeling and your image textures is probably like the biggest consideration. But again, it's like, it can, the game engine technology has come so far, and obviously computing power has come so far that like, if you're going for a photorealism game, that's possible too. So, it's all just kind of up to you. But this is an exercise in sort of like the opposite of photorealism. How low can you go? And have it still, look the way you want it to. Anyway, that's it. So this is due in 2 weeks. So this is a shorter one. Oh, and you have a quick model. I almost forgot. So your quick model this week is Ancient Artifact. So part 1. So again, you do not need to finish this. I always think it's fun to see everybody's finished things with the quick models, and it's totally fine if you want to spend more time on it. That's more practice, and I think that's great. But objective number one, when you're modeling ancient artifact, one, how do you get the mesh to look ancient? Or like, how do you just model whatever ancient artifact that pops into your head? Maybe it's like a sword, or maybe it's like a bowl. Step one. And then your secondary goal is, how could you use the shading workspace, use nodes, use noise, use things like that to maybe like make it appear that it's old, like maybe there's dirt on it or there's rust on it. How can you kind of combine some noise effects and some whatever, some other colors, some rust colors to make it feel older? That's the part two of your challenge. But don't spend more than 15 minutes on it, and just see what you get to. Okay, that's it. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.